Welcome to T Boys TV. We are back again with another Hat Show episode 268. And in this one, there was some comments made by Gary Sweet on Three Counties radio last night, which we will get into, as you can see. And then we will obviously get into the game tomorrow as well. 3 p.m. kickoff against Doncaster team, who I don't think, I think they're doing pretty well given their newly promoted side and everything like that. But we will get into that. But before we do all of that, Dad, how have you been the last few days?
Yeah, I've been good, mate. Hope everyone's cool. Really anticipating this game because we do need to turn it around. We need to prove stuff. I like Doncaster. I think they're a good footballing team. I have watched out for them for the past couple of years. I remember in there in the Championship before, so this is a real test. Both teams sort of in a similar form as well. So, yeah, we've got injuries, illnesses, and all sorts going on. So it's going to be it's a lot of pressure there as well. So I think we need a good start in this game. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, I'll totally agree. It's a massive game given by everything that's been said as well this week. Given by Sweet and things like that, which we will get into, now. So I'm not going to get into all of it. I'm just going to get into the key talking points I felt when watching it, and let me know if you guys were the same or listening to it, shall I say. So he said about allowing ourselves a bad performance. Now, the problem I do have with that is, well, we've got relegated the last 2 years, so yes, the Premier League, we were expected to go down, but last year, never in a million years going into it was we expected to go down. So I do have a little bit of a problem with that. And, yes, the Lincoln performance wasn't great. Definitely not. But neither was the game before that. So, when it says allow ourselves a bad performance, that's not the only bad performance recently. If it was one in the blue moon, I could definitely accept that. But, yeah, I didn't really like that. The Kenilworth Road comments, obviously, we need to make it a fortress and that. Well, at the same time, the players and the manager, they need to, get the fans up for it, and I know, fans do try and get up for it, before the game. They're always going, come on, Luton, when the players are coming out and things like that. So it's not like we're not, but there's that edge of nervousness, that comes into context as well, which massively hasn't helped. And again, it goes down to the, last couple of seasons, not performing to a level we feel we should as fans. We've got there's no entitlement to that. It's just a fact. Obviously we're heavily favourites to go on and win a league. I can't see that now because we've had so many defeats already. So yeah, and then the last thing I didn't really like personally was, seems like we're a bit over reliant on Bloomfield. I mean, any work to do with the brace, with the training ground, he's part of that, whether that's, the stuff with the injury team and things like that. I think it's a little bit too much, I'll be honest. I mean, he's already got a lot of pressure on him as it is. Rightly so, because he's had long enough now at the football club to be doing better. So I can totally agree with that. But when it comes to, making him do other side of, things to do with the club, there should be other people doing them sort of things, so there were certain things I couldn't really agree with, to be totally honest with you. And he's come out, which is good to see. Obviously, he's come out and spoke on it. However, yeah, I just didn't like some of the comments personally. Because at the end of the day, we're going to be frustrated. It's one of them. But yeah, at the end of the day, I do want Bloomfield to succeed. But like I said last week, and like I've said leading up to this week, you can't defend him. When he's making these silly decisions, I said it going into the Lincoln game. We cannot put Ali and Longwick as wing backs because it won't work. You get punished. You're playing players way out of position against a physical side who are going to stick it on you. By the way, Doncaster are another team that are going to do that as well tomorrow. And they did rest a lot of I would say, their key players going into this game against Tottenham as well. So they're going to be right up for it, and I'm not. And another thing as well, which I didn't really like, was that it takes time. It takes time. It goes back to what I said. Bloomfield's had enough time now And it's not just him; it's the players as well. But we're at a stage now where I don't want to hear that. There's teams like Doncaster who have come up, who are right up there, getting great results, beat a Bradford team who we couldn't beat, by the way. You know, there's things like that. I'm not hearing there's time. Yeah, we've had enough time now to be doing better. So we got to stick it on. And at the end of the day, the main talking point coming out of all this is, well, we're at a stage now where we don't feel Bloomfield should be getting much more time if this continues. So why should it be time elsewhere? No, we should be getting results now. If we're a team that want to be right up there, automatics, like he said, you'll have to be getting results now. We can't be doing this. Oh yeah, let's get a 1-0 win against someone who's average, and you know what I mean. We've had one good performance the whole season in the league, and that was against a Burton team who are, for me, are definitely going to be in a battle again. But this year they could actually go down. To be quite honest with you, the only way I see them staying up is if Charlie Webster has an absolute madness, essentially. But yeah, just a few things I didn't really like coming out of that, to be quite honest with you. But I know you've got a bit of a different opinion, Dad.
Yeah, first of all, you know what I mean. I think it's fair play. The last two interviews done by three counties, he's come out. Do you know what I mean? This is quite rare, if you like. Last season we didn't have that. We just had program notes. He said certain things, which I do agree with. I get the nervousness. But he don't forget, because he is a fan as well, and he's near the fan, he hears everything. So he hear everyone slagging off the young players. Nordas, particularly, maybe Nelson a little bit as well, things like that. So I get it because of that nervousness. But for me, what makes Kenilworth Road a fortress is when we're playing well, when we are taking on teams, when we are battling, and things like that. And I think it comes from that more. And it's hard to drag it from the fans now because they've got high expectations. So it goes back to the management team and the players on the pitch for me in that respect. But yeah, I'd say fair play to him for coming on. Let's see what happens. He also said that if we don't pick up out, he's got no qualms about changing the manager. He said that basically brave decisions and things like that. So he said it. He's not going to come out and say, well, if Matt don't sort it out. Do you know what I mean? He believes in him. They appointed him. We are going through a tough patch, and this is the thing. Rob Edwards couldn't get out of it for whatever reason. He's been given time, not as much time probably as people think. Do you know what I mean? To turn it around, and let's see if we can. He's adamant that we are. He's come out in his press conference and said it's going to be a totally different game and things like that. Plus, we're being forced into changes, which could be a good thing. I don't think it's that. There's a lot for people to say. Some people don't care what Gary Sweet says. Whatever he says is not right. But fundamentally, for me, like, he come out, he's addressed the situation. Like, he's right in a lot of things, in my opinion. So let's see what happens.
Yeah. It's just like overall, like you say, fair play for going on. Because let's be honest, he's got a lot of criticism because he hasn't really, been seen as much. Obviously, the last couple of years, obviously since we have gone down. So I always give the credit for going on. But yeah, it's just like I say, me personally, I didn't like that comment when it comes to allow ourselves a bad performance because it wasn't just a one-off. The exact same thing happened the game before. In the sense of the individual mistakes costing us, and just, do you know what I mean? Like for me, you can't really say that. When we've been obviously relegated back to back. Especially last year. That was unexpected. At all, and it goes back to what I said on the last one. That we did on Monday. If the performances were better and people were agreeing in the comments, let me know if you agree now as well. if the performances were better, but we were narrowly losing, you know, there'd still be that frustration, of course, because we haven't won, but people will be a lot more, positive and things like that. And like you said, Dad, obviously there's that high expectation, as there should be. Like you said the other day, we got a good enough squad still. Still feel we haven't filled, well, we didn't fill certain areas personally, but overall, especially attacking wise, I think our squad's right up there, if not up there. So yeah, it's just the ways of going about it and going into this game. It's going to be interesting, like you say, if we do change it up a little bit. Obviously, due to forced injuries, which I will get into now. So injuries that we have got going into this game, quite a lot, which is not great. So obviously Clark is out, which is a rare, very rare. He's rarely out. And then Longwick and Yates. Clark is due to a slight calf issue. Yates is apparently concussed. And then Longwick rolled his ankle during that Lincoln game. And yeah, I mean, you look at that Longwick one, I don't think he should have been playing there anyway, to be quite honest with you, like I said. The Clark one's a bit unfortunate because, I thought his post match, as much as, he did obviously mention a tactics thing, which a lot of people didn't agree with. I do feel he is one of the, players that, shows that determination that he wants to do well week upon week. As long as he's in that advanced role, I think he's much better, but he will be a big miss for us. And then obviously Yates, I mean, you know, I think the criticism was harsh on him, but last game I have to agree with people. I think he was terrible last game, to be quite honest with you. The games before that, I felt he weren't really getting the service, if I'm going to be totally honest. But yeah, I mean, you know, we'll see what happens with that. I think now it's pretty obvious going into this game what your front two is going to be for this game. But yeah, I mean, will we maybe change formation? I mean, the only thing with changing formation for this game, and it goes back to what I've said for the last few weeks now, is until Walters is back, I just don't. As much as there's players that can play there, it's not ideal. That's my only worry with it. I feel, in terms of a right back in particular, we're a bit weaker there, especially when you compare it to the left. Bramall, as well, for this game is a bit 50-50, but usually over the seasons, when players are out, and players have been 50-50, the players that are 50-50 usually come in. So I expect the same thing with Bramall going into this game. But a bit more on Doncaster themselves. So they're exactly like us in the sense of they've lost their last two in the league. But they did obviously start the season pretty well. So when they beat Bradford, they moved into second place. Two defeats on the spin, like I say, but they're still within touching distance within the playoffs. Obviously, they did play Tottenham during the week. Like I say, they did rotate. It's interesting to see how they were going to go into that game because, yes, they'd probably expect to lose, of course, but at the same time, do you want to go for it? Obviously, they had Molyneux on their bench, who's one of their key players. Billy Sharp's experience, he wasn't there at all. Maybe a little bit surprised he didn't at least feature in that game, to be quite honest with you. So he's fully rested going into this game. And, a lot of people might not rate him as a player, but he's definitely decent for them, bring them experience and leadership. But yeah, I mean, as for us, it's going to be interesting to see what we do go with in this game in terms of a lineup. I mean, Bloomfield did say in his press conference, he's always wanted to go to a four. And when he first come in, obviously we see that, he did want to go to a four. And, to be fair, when he first come in, it weren't really the defence for me that weren't working. It was more the attack because we had one up front and it was Morris, who's, he's not a lone striker. He's not great, is he really? Let's be honest. He has to have someone with him. He hasn't really got the pace to get him behind. So he's just, it's holding up the ball. And it weren't really working. It weren't really a defence for me. But I don't know. The comments are quite interesting. It does give me a hopeful feeling that we could go to the back four. As much as I say, I don't really think we've got the personnel at right back. If you do play four at the back, and then you play players higher up, like players that you would play as wingers, or us as wing backs. I think you've got great options. And that's what could massively help us going into this game. But yeah, it'll be very interesting. But yeah, in terms of a lineup, I'll get my lineup that I believe we could go with for this game. So if we play three at the back, I've done two, three at the back and then four at the back because I'm not sure. I've got a hopeful feeling we could play four, but then no, Luton will probably play three. So this is my lineup for this game. As you can see, let me just see uh, if you guys can see that. Yeah, you can see that. That's cool. So obviously, Keeley in goal. It's gonna be, let's be honest. The back three, if we were to play the three at the back, I'd go Makoso, um, Anderson, and Naismith. I feel right now that's probably your best options. And then have like me personally, I'd like to see Chigoze on the bench as another option at centre back. And then the right wing back, I've gone Kadoa. Obviously, he wasn't in the squad last week, but nothing's been said on him not being in it this week. So I'm going to say he's in it this week. And I feel he has been our best right wing back, if you want to call it that, especially recently. So, yeah, I'd go with him. Bramall on the left, you've got to put him in, even though he's 50-50. Like I say, I think he'll be available for this game, so I'll be putting him in. Midfield, I'd be going with Saville. You've got to go with him. He's been one of our better players. Obviously, wasn't so great last week, but then again, no one really was, to be quite honest with you. And then I would actually put Lamine in for this game. A lot of that's down to the fact Clark isn't available. And then the other side, I'll go Nelson. Obviously, you expect him and Richards to be involved in the lineup, whether that's starting or on the bench. I feel Nelson's slightly ahead, so I would start him. And then the two up front, I think it speaks for itself. I think you go with Wells and Nordos. Speaks for itself, really. With Yates being out, Elijah still out, Brown still out. I don't really know who else there is to go there. I don't really think Ali works up front. So yeah, that would be my lineup if we do go with a back three. As for a back four, if we were to play that going into tomorrow's game, this would be my lineup for this game. So Keeley in goal again. Let me just hold up. There you go, guys. Yeah, so Keeley in goal again. That sort of goes without saying, really. My back four would actually be Kadoa. Again, we are slightly weak there until Walters is back, someone who's established there, I would say. But out of all the options, obviously, we did a majority vote the other day. Everyone did say Kadoa as a right back if we had to play a back four. So, yeah, I'd have to agree with that. Makoso and Naismith would be my two centre backs because my only feeling if we did play a back four and we put Naismith and Anderson is they're not really, you haven't really got a pacey one there. You need at least one, for me, pacey player there. So I'd have to go with that. And then I'll go Bramall on the left. That goes without saying. And then it's sort of like a 4-1-3-2 formation. And I did say to myself, and it's actually on my phone and my notes, I would have went with that last year. Early times of Bloomfield coming in, because I know he does like traditionally four at the back. Saville by himself, that's what he does anyway. Basically, he does that, that work in front of the defence, gets hold of the ball, gets some tackles in, things like that. And then this is where it gets interesting, and this is where it could benefit us if we did play four at the back. We could put Ali on the left, much higher, gives him freedom, luxury to do what we know he's good at, running at players from, out wide. Then I'd actually go Shaden Morris on the right. I think, the 3 times he's come on since he's joined, he's looked really lively and he's tried to make things happen. So I'll definitely go with him. And then in the middle of that, I'll go Lamine. Now, obviously, Bloomfield said, he wants to see him in number 8, sort of doing a bit of both. So obviously, we've seen him as a cam since he's come in. Again, the opposition weren't great, but we saw it when he played Boreham Wood. He was very good there in that position. So, it could work. And then the two up front again speaks for itself. Wells and Nordos for me. The only other debate I could have is maybe Nelson in for Lamine, but I'd play Lamine for this game. I feel he's got a point to prove, and yeah, I feel he's got to be given a chance. He's got to be given a chance. So yeah, that would be mine if we were to play a back four. Do let me know what you guys do think of that in the chat. But yeah, as for your two lineup stud, there you go. There's your three at the back.
Yeah, so I've done the three at the back. Keeley, obviously, I'm going to go with Naismith, Anderson, and Koso. Seems quite more obvious. I don't want to be starting Mengi. So yeah, Longwick obviously is injured as well. And then Saville just behind. Two in midfield, got Lamine and Nelson. Bramall on the left, Morris on the right. Up front, I'm going with Cabode and Wells for the 3-5-2. I think, Nordas has done all right, but let's try something different. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, that's my 3-5-2.
Yeah, and again, just quickly before you chat, obviously, while you're changing formation, what I will say about that is Gabode's interesting. I mean, he was decent when he come on. I know it was only a short cameo, but he could have a point to sort of prove. We don't necessarily think it, me and you, Dad, because I know we praise Nordos's link up play, but people do obviously mention with him that he's not, they don't think he's quite that option right now. So if you give someone else a go like Cabode, he could be that option there. But yeah, you're four at the back. There you go.
Is it there? Yeah.
Yeah, sir.
So yeah, Bramall, I think he will start. And then I'm going to put Naismith in centre defence alongside Makoso, and I'm going to put Kadua on that side. And then have two CDMs, Saville and Lamine. And then have the three in midfield. We're light in midfield, so I'm going to put Nelson in the middle, Ali on the left, Morris on the right, and just go in order up front.
Okay. That's interesting. Let us know what you do think of that, guys. But yeah, we'll go through some comments because they are flying in. Big up to Paul, says, evening, lads. Big up to yourself, mate. G1 says, hi, reasonably honest and interesting press conference from Matt, I thought. Still a lot to prove from him and players and the board's communication. Yep, I totally agree with that, mate. Big up to yourself, Spencer, mate. G1 also says, yes, Cadeau would start and maybe Richards at some point. Yeah, I think Richards deserves to be coming on at some point. I mean, with the, I guess, limited options we have right now as well in terms of the midfield, he definitely deserves to have a go. And yes, the opposition weren't great, but he done well in his last game, and it don't really matter if you're getting confidence and doing stuff other midfielders are not doing in games, then you deserve to have your chance at some point. To be quite honest with you, and a lot of people have been, I'd guess, quite disappointed he hasn't been in lineups. In the last few weeks, so give him a chance. I mean, Jackie's adamant that we should definitely start Morris. I feel if we play four at the back, and it's a big hope that we do. But yeah, you've got to put him in that right midfield for me. Like we've said, because he's looked really good the 3 games he's come on. So yeah, let's do it. Let's utilize it, and we have Bloomfield's obviously said we want to be attack heavy and things like that. I mean, as much as I still don't, I'm still worried about the right side or the right back out of the 4. The attack you've got, the options, even some of the players we haven't started ourselves, Dad, attacking options to come on, can definitely cause a threat. So, yeah, but yeah, for me, he should be starting if we do play a back 4 tomorrow. Big up to Phil. He says, evening, lads. Hi, Ty Daz. I'd like to see Richards. Yeah, a lot of people are saying that in the chat. Yeah, like I say, I'd like to see him come on in this game, depending on how it's going. But yeah, that's the only problem. I mean, I know Lamine can do a bit both, but we haven't really seen that yet in terms of defensive duties as well. All the others are quite attacking, aren't they? So Yeah, maybe we'll have to see how the game goes. But yeah, it'll definitely be on the bench by the sounds of everything, due to the options and things like that. But yeah, score predictions, Dad, for this game. Can we bounce back after two poor games? Really?
Got to, really, we really have. I think we'll do it. I think it'll be scrappy. Do you know what I mean? It won't be. We'll be fighting more and things like that, and it'll be turned into a bit of a scrappy game, I think. And we'll just probably just pit past the post, and then it's performances after that, which do you know what I mean? Which can't be like that because you've just got to be on it. And like I say, it's interesting that we've got people that would normally play not playing now, so that forces a hand more. And I do think we'll go forward at the back. It's just sort of it's been mentioned by Bloomfield, by obviously the fans, by Gary Sweet and a lot of people, and sort of. So I think it might happen. So yeah, I'm just looking forward to seeing what's going to change because it's been promised. So let's see it in action.
Yeah. Score prediction then.
I'm going to go 2-1 Luton.
Okay, fair enough. As for me, I'm going to go slightly different. I'm going to actually go for our first draw of the season. Obviously, we haven't drew yet. I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw. I think it's hard to separate the teams. Like I say, Doncaster, obviously, I did rotate against Tottenham. Obviously, Molyneux wasn't starting. Billy Sharp was obviously not in the squad. So they'll have all eyes on this game. They are doing very well so far, and we're still not quite clicking. But if there is a change in formation, we'll see how that goes. And I do feel, as much as I don't think we got an established right back at the moment till Walters is back, you've got a good attacking options, whether players start or not out of the attackers. If certain players don't start, you've got good options to come on. Could that maybe make a difference? We shall see. But yeah, I'm going to say a 1-1 draw, like I say. Other score predictions. Paul has gone 2-1 to Luton, same as you as well, Dad. Jackie's gone with the same as well, 2-1. Ali and Lamine to score. That'd be good if Lamine scored. I mean, it's got to that stage now where, because we're not playing so great at this moment in time, I feel if Lamine did come in and score, he'd have to play next game. Even if he didn't have a great performance, other than just scoring, you'd have to put him in. And leading on to what you said, Dad, about we can't afford to mess around. Essentially, the games after. I mean, I totally agree. I mean, look at teams we got after that back-to-back away games as well. Blackpool on a midweek. Obviously got a good win last week against Barnsley. They got a tough game tomorrow against Bradford away, so we'll see how they do in that. But I mean, if they come out of that unscathed, then they have a lot of confidence going into this game, especially with how Bradford have done so far throughout the season. And then obviously we've got Stevenage, and they're right up there, as we know. So the games, they don't get any easier. So we need to start picking up. If there's a time to pick up, it is now, especially with two away games coming up. Spencer's gone 2-1. 2-1 is the popular prediction this week. Nordos and Lamine to score. See, a lot of people going Lamine as well, which is interesting. But yeah, your two goal scorers, Dad?
I'm going to go with Nelson and Wells.
Nelson, okay. I guess redeems himself after the last home game. And then Wells, yeah, could see that. As for me, yeah, do you know what? I'll go Wells as well. I'll go Wells to get our goal. In the box, he'll tap it away, something like that. To be quite honest with you. And what did Chat GPT say for this game, Dad?
It actually said 2-1 Doncaster.
Well, to be fair, they've been wrong quite a lot of times this year. So hopefully they're wrong again there as well. But yeah, we shall see what happens with that. But Dad, any final things you want to say before we end it?
No, just you might have noticed that I've got an Arsenal fan in the background. I don't like that. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, No, looking forward to it. Not 3 p.m. kickoff finally. Yeah, do you know what I mean?
Mm.
Normal football, and hopefully, like the crowd. Some of the crowd would have listened to Gary Sweet's words, and there'll be more on it. So I believe, um, trying to g up the team. But if the team then starts fucking around, then they're going to stop. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, let's go. So it's a proper good game, really. This is one of the games I was actually looking forward to, regardless of the situation now in the season, because I like Doncaster, like I said before. I think they're a good team, a lot like us, and this is where we should be. He's in the Premier League 2 years ago. We should be, stamping our authority, and can't do that. Then there needs to be a change, but we'll see.
Yeah. No, I agree. And it's quite funny actually because I was doing one of them random career modes that you do on FIFA, and I actually was doing it at Doncaster when they were in League Two, and I thought they were really good then as well. And yeah, it's going to be a difficult test. I mean, like I say, they're right up there. Something that might give us a bit of confidence, or maybe I'm just being deluded, I guess, is when we played Hull. Obviously, Grant McCann's their manager. I remember when they played when Hull come. Do you remember that? And we beat them 1-0, and there was a lot of pressure on him. Obviously, there's not now because Doncaster are doing well and Hull weren't at the time. But he don't have the best of records at Kenilworth Road, is what I'm trying to say. So hopefully that.
And they have beat us twice or something before, but it was in like the 50s.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean,
Easy.
last time again, there's not much to take into it because there was a different sort of momentum, but we did obviously absolutely breeze past them. But yeah, I'm not expecting that tomorrow. I'm expecting a difficult game against another team that will be similar to, for me, similar to Lincoln, similar to Plymouth in the sense of they will stick it on us. So we need to be on it. We need to not be sloppy in possession. We need to give the fans something to cheer about. That's the thing. And like you say, Dad, if and it goes back to what I said earlier, if we're starting off slow like we have, then the fans can't really get up for it because they sort of know what to anticipate because they've seen it for the last 2 seasons. So there is that as well. But yeah, hopefully we get a win, which I would say is much needed for everyone, really. From Bloomfield to the higher ups to the fans, we need it, but the players need to perform and not do individual rubbish that we've seen the last couple of weeks. To be quite honest with you, but yeah, shout out to Barry. He's gone 1-0 to them, mate. I can't even blame you. I would not be surprised. If we lost 1-0, to be quite honest with you. But yeah, it's especially with the fact we have so many chances and we don't take them a lot this year. I would not be surprised, and they are a good side. I'm going to give them a lot of credit. So it's not going to be easy, man. It's not going to be easy at all. But yeah, we shall see everything that goes on regarding it. But yeah, regarding the game tomorrow, obviously I will be doing a match reaction like always to the game. So do check that out when it does drop. Sunday, I'm hoping to get a Blackpool fan on the channel like I have before, and we're going to do a preview. Shout out to Lee Charles. I'm going to try and get him on. I did message him. So we'll see what if he does reply. But if not, obviously he'll be back again on Monday anyway, doing the Hat Show, talk about this game with the player ratings and then getting into that Blackpool game. And then the Blackpool game, obviously, there'll be a reaction and things like that all over again. And then we'll be back again on Friday to preview Stevenage away, Dad. So hopefully there's a lot more confidence from our end going into that game because if there's one game in this league where you need that, it is certainly them. So yeah, we'll see how that goes. And just quickly before we do go, Phil does say 2-1 Doncaster win. Unfortunately, I can't see it getting any better at the moment. I'll be there tomorrow. Hope they prove me wrong. Yeah, exactly, mate. And that's what we want. We want them to prove us wrong. But I hear what you're saying. I mean, if we look at the lineup and it's a three at the back again with something that just doesn't sit right from minute one, then with sloppy in possession, things like that, you can totally see it. Can totally see it because that's been the problem. We've been given away goals. It's not like teams have had a moment of magic and they've just pounced on us, you know, in the sense of that, or skill or quality. It's just they've just stuck it on us. You know, what we used to be known for doing, we're not doing at this moment in time. So I can totally understand why you guys did say a defeat. I'll be honest, I was close to saying a defeat. But I am going to sit on the fence with the 1-1 draw. And I know we haven't drawn yet, but it will happen eventually. Will it be this game? We shall see. But yeah, big up to everyone that has tuned in. Don't forget to smash a like, subscribe. Do follow me across all my socials. Subscribe to the extra channel. And yeah, for the match reaction tomorrow, I will see you. And Monday, my dad will see you guys again. So yeah, big up to yourselves, guys. Hopefully, Luton can get a win. If not, it's the same old rubbish for the last 2 weeks. So yeah, until then, take care. Peace.
Peace.